What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Daniel Banks, aka DJ Banks, and you're now tuned into We Are Jersey Magazine, and I'm here with the ganjapreneur herself, Alyza.
How you guys doing?
You already know. First of all, thank you for coming.
Of course.
Tune in. You already know We Are Jersey Magazine. We are in the building. Miss Alyza, real quick, put me on game real quick, because I had to Google it. What is a ganjapreneur?
A ganjapreneur, also sometimes known as a cannapreneur, is somebody who is an entrepreneur or a business owner in the cannabis space.
Okay. So we have two different terminologies. We have the ganja and we have the cannabis. Now, is there a difference in the terminology, or is it something that we're trying to put the public on game to now?
So ganja really derives from Jamaica and the culture of, being a ganja man, right?
Yeah.
But the actual name for what we call now marijuana is actually cannabis, right? It's the cannabinoid system. It's plant medicine. We have to really transition to that name because marijuana is really a derogatory term that was created by the U.S. system
Absolutely.
to really demonize the plant. So it's, derogatory towards saying that marijuana was brought into the country from Mexicans,
Right.
and that's where they created the name. So we really want to start to transition this word, use it in a scientific way, and explain to people that it's cannabis.
Absolutely. Now, what made you get into the cannabis game? Like, what kind of got you into that realm, in a sense? Because you have a lot of things, alongside it. You got a whole business to it, which we're going to get into. But, what kind of got you involved in it in the first place?
Well, I've had a long-standing relationship with cannabis for a long time because I used to smoke when I was in college. But, me trying to kind of elevate in life, I went to the military and I stopped my relationship. And I never really looked at it from a medical perspective. I really was a recreational user, right?
Understood.
But once I got out of the military and I was going through my transition with some of my disabilities and things that, I went to combat twice. So I did 2 overseas combat tours, and then I did 2 others that were here locally. So, there's some challenges that I have there and dealing with the VA. It wasn't a really positive experience. They were over-prescribing me pills. It was making me like a zombie. And my wife, who I've been with for a long time, who's known really all stages of my growth and development, was like, you really need to reintroduce cannabis into your life so that you can manage these ailments and not feel like you have to take 9 different pills every day just to sustain.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's how I kind of reintroduced myself to it. And then, I have my other business, which is really wellness-based. And then I started to see the medical value for it. And I was like, this would be great for me to encompass this in my wellness empire and just introduce it in a different way. So, the brand that we're bringing is really different. We want to really change the narrative around cannabis and get people to understand, like, this is something that's positive. Prohibition has exiled it out of a lot of our lives for a long time. We need to relearn a lot of the things that we were taught.
No, absolutely. First of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that. That's amazing. So now, after encompassing all those things into your life, personally, you decided to now make a lounge and a dispensary called The Other Side. Tell me about TOSD.
So The Other Side is located in Jersey City, and the service that we're offering is the retail sales of cannabis. But on the upstairs part of it will be a consumption lounge. And there's a couple things around that, right? First off, when we look at the legislation and the laws, there's really no safe space for people to consume.
Absolutely.
It may be legalized and you may be able to maybe smoke outside, but you're really breaking the law. You can't smoke in parks, you can't smoke in public spaces. So for people, especially from Black and brown communities that live in federal housing, that, maybe they have Section 8 vouchers, they are breaking the law and can put themselves in jeopardy smoking in their domain, in their domicile, right? So how are we going to create a safe space for them to go somewhere and legally consume and not be targeted?
I like that, yeah.
So there's that aspect of it, but then there's cigar bars, there's hookah lounges. This should be a social experience for people. So that's what really made me come full circle.
Now, for the viewers, what is it like going through the legal process of that? Because everybody says, I want to own a dispensary, I want to do it. But you have a dispensary and a lounge on top of that. So that's like a whole different dynamic of itself. Because as you said, you have a hookah lounge, you have the cigar lounges, and they have their own elements. But this is a different step legally that you have to put yourself out there, that you're putting your name out there. Every piece of you is in this. Yep. So what did that involve legally wise to get involved in that type of a lane?
Well, you definitely need a lot of resources that are going to guide you in the subjects that you don't understand, right? So I'm not the type of person that I want to do it all. I want to understand a lot of things, but if it's not my expertise, then I think you need to do what you do best and delegate everything else, right? So you need to have the proper attorneys. You need to know how to navigate the process. And I think for me, what really helped me is that I had a professional career for a long time where I worked as a technical writer. So I understand how to write the application, how to get through that process. But ultimately, if people don't know how to navigate that, then that's where a lot of the challenges are going to be and why there's not going to be a lot of representation of Black and brown people in this space. It's highly regulatory. There is a governing body in New Jersey called the CRC, which is the Cannabis Regulatory Commission. You have to go through their licensing process. You have to also get approval and or an endorsement from the municipality that you intend to set up shop in. So there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle, and it is much easier to just sell weed in the black market, right?
Yeah.
But we're getting to this place now that it's dangerous. And you don't want to just be like sparking your L and have the last high of your life because somebody put fentanyl or something dangerous that in it, right? So I think it's really important that we highlight the importance of the legal market, because although a lot of people see it as it's the government's way to finally make money on weed and how they want to infiltrate the market, that may or may not be true. The reality is that I want to know that I can consume safely and enjoy myself and not know that I'm going to die just from smoking weed, So
Absolutely.
The legal market is really, really important.
And we really appreciate you putting us on game about this. Is why she's a ganjapreneur. This is why. So if you want to open up your own dispensary and lounge, hit up Alyza. She got all the legal gems. This is a resource.
I got you.
This is a resource. So thank you for dropping those gems. Now let's talk about other things she got going on. So you have this Sweat Wellness Center.
Yes.
And it's an infrared sauna. Tell me about that.
So we started off as a very niche business that we did only heat therapy, which is the infrared sauna. In my experience and growth and really pivoting in business, right? Like I didn't have a ton of family members that were entrepreneurs, so I had to really learn how to navigate this, right? So COVID happened. I needed to rethink my sustainability. I needed to rethink my model. And I think my experience in life of like where I landed with coming out of the military, being injured, what that transition looked like. And I started to introduce different wellness solutions to my life. Meditation, talk therapy, things that were really going to heal me and not suppress me, which is what I felt like the pharmaceutical meds were doing.
Absolutely.
So in doing that, I just essentially was like, what am I going to transition into? So I started to rebuild what that model looked like. So now it's a all-encompassing wellness facility. We have a salt cave. We have infrared sauna. We're also introducing yoga. We're introducing meditation. We're introducing sound bath, Reiki, a tremendous amount of holistic solutions that can help people that you don't need to pump your body with these meds. So that's kind of the direction that we're going, which is really why I have Sweat, which is supposed to be, practitioner-based holistic solutions of a place that you can go and get this experience. But then you have the other side, whereas alternative medicine, where you can consume and make yourself feel better. I want to be able to offer the world both sides, because I don't think that we need to continue to just ingest ourselves with what are real drugs.
Yeah, pharmaceuticals.
Right.
Now, where is this located at?
So I have Sweat Wellness. I have one facility in Jersey City, another one in Hoboken. We recently developed into a franchise.
Congrats.
So the hope is in the near future, we will expand by giving other people opportunity for generational wealth and ownership.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's amazing. With the populations with the locations that you selected, were there any targeted populations for those actual spots? Is there anything like that's your old childhood like locations that you used to be around, or any memories around there, or were those just locations that you had available as far as the spots that you can be at?
So when I did my very first business, which was the first Sweat, which is in Jersey City, right? The next one that I developed was in Hoboken, which had a little bit more thought put into it in terms of emotional. But the first one was very strategic because Black and brown businesses have an issue with raising capital, receiving capital, and resiliency and sustainability. So I knew that if I wanted to survive with a business model that was very niche and very new and very unique, and I needed to, it had a large educational component of it that I needed to educate the community on why this was beneficial for them. I knew I had a lot to overcome and a lot of barriers to kind of navigate.
Right.
So I strategically placed it in downtown Jersey City because it's thriving. There's a lot of foot traffic. It's close to the PATH train, which will have some people come over for New York.
Yeah.
So there was really a reason why I placed it there. Now, at this time, I'm interested in growing, so I may actually want to move from there, and I may move from a community that differs from that downtown community. But at this point, I think that we have enough credibility that I built a strong enough brand that now it's less about where it's at and more about the fact that I built a following that people want to go where it's at.
Absolutely.
Now, the second location, which was in Hoboken, my wife is from Hoboken. And there's not a lot of people that live in Hoboken that are from Hoboken that actually went to Hoboken High or, some of the schools there. So it really was something that was like, we want to give back to that community, which we are from.
Yeah.
And
y'all doing it. Y'all doing it. Y'all definitely doing it.
So, and then Jersey City Heights, that was just, that was more about, I don't want to say luck, but opportunity. Because in cannabis, it's very difficult to find a location. Yes. That's a whole different conversation, right? Yeah. Like it has to be zoned. You have to go to a planning board and they have to approve your location. They have to go through your plans. So that was really just where the best opportunity was going to be for me. Absolutely. And I got a great location and it's going to be.
I got to give you your flowers because it's amazing that you have tied in both of your businesses to both just basically a holistic approach.
Yeah.
Like everything is just natural. It's either naturally grown in the ground or it's just something that is just about breathing natural air.
Right.
And just kind of bringing all those elements together. So congratulations to you.
So
make sure you guys go to her location because I'm going to go. I'm already feeling a salt. What'd you say?
Salt cave.
Salt cave. Yeah. Everything. Infrared sauna. I'm going to get my sweat on because, listen, we got some socks. We're not even going to get into that. We're not going to get into that. So you've also had a lot of features, man. You've been doing a lot of, she does a lot. I'm so blessed that I'm here. She does a lot. So you've also been on features like Bravo TV. Tell me a little bit about some of these features. We're gonna get into them, so let's get into some of these features. Bravo TV. Tell me about that experience.
So Bravo TV, I was on Cash Cab with my wife, and that was just a fun, random experience. We got scouted for that. And what was so funny about the story is, and I don't want to give any behind the scenes of how TV works, but I actually didn't know that we were going to be on Cash Cab. When you get in the cab and all the lights go off and everybody's, you're on Cash Cab. I had no idea. They told me that we were going to be on a different show where we were competing with another couple. So I came in ready. I got my wife with you. I'm like, we're going to win. Like, we got this. And then the girl's like, okay, you're going to get in a cab and we're going to take you to the place. Yeah. I get in the cab, shit lights up. Wow. I was like, wow, they got me.
They got y'all good.
So that was a fun experience because that was actually our first outing after we had our baby. So we hadn't been outside. We were trapped like new moms, doing the newborn thing. Yeah. So it was the first time that we had our first outing that we gave, had our babysitter, which is my mother-in-law. Yeah. She watched the baby, and it was a really fun experience.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's like just to have that experience with your wife must have been just rewarding in and of itself.
Oh yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
We also have Yahoo Finance.
Yes.
Yes. Tell me about that.
So that was a huge feature, man. I'm so grateful for it. That really just put me in front of so many people, and that was really, they highlighted me there because I'm the first, I hate going down the list, but Black, Latin, LGBTQ, disabled veteran that was awarded a license in New Jersey and is kind of like in this place right now.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal because in weed, we have underserved communities and disparities in just veterans, just LGBTQ, just Latin people, just Black people, that we're not prevalent in this industry at all. So to have someone that's coming like, I'm covering all these bases, I'm representing all these groups that I'm a part of that mean something to me, and I need to make sure that I tell the world that I'm part of these groups because I'm really representing a voice for them.
Absolutely.
So that was really huge to be on Yahoo for that.
Absolutely. And then she's also been on Netflix, y'all. Tell me about the Netflix experience.
So the Netflix thing is really, I was just trying to have some fun.
Yeah.
And I happened to have some skills that I wanted to put to good use, right? I did 10 years in the military.
That's that military side that really came out. That's what I'm about to say.
I was a military police officer, so I've, done a lot of had a lot of tactical experience, and I didn't even know that that's something that they look for in a lot of these shows. They're the background actors, and then there's the stunt people, but there's this middle, which is like, you're not super trained to be like a stunt person, but you have a specialized skill, which is knowing how to wear a uniform, knowing how to wear a police outfit or a military uniform, knowing how to accurately hold a weapon. And because you're simulating this when you're shooting, but
absolutely.
I mean, we're shooting like filming.
Yes, absolutely.
Not real shooting.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you gotta make it look real for TV, so they actually hire people that know how to do it. So that's something that I've kind of done
in
my spare time, and it's paid off because now I'm on Netflix for it.
Jack of all trades, man. Blessings to you, for
Thank
real.
You, man.
Like I said, we are tuned in with Miss Alyza, man. Make sure you go follow her, check her out. Make sure you tell them everywhere to check you out. Give yourself a shout out.
So first things first, you got to go check out my brands. You have to go check out my facilities. There's Sweat Wellness. Sweat is spelled with a 3. So SW, the number 3AT, and the 3 is for mind, body, and soul, because we really got to start taking care of all 3 of those things. Mm-hmm. The other one is the other side. TOSD_lounge. And of course, if you want to hear from me, I do a lot of my own content, talking, a lot of thought leadership, wellness, generational wealth. You can follow me, Beast, BEAST.rod.
You're now tuned in. We are Jersey Magazine. Miss Alyza, Daniel Banks, signing off.
We lit.
Thank you.
It's good, brother. I love it.